Hi everybody, it's Mr. Gray here. Thanks again for another great week. I have some announcements right off the bat. The first one is physical fitness testing. We're going to be doing physical fitness testing over the next couple of weeks. All the fifth graders in the state of California do this. So on the next 2 Tuesdays, the kids are going to run the mile. We did that for practice this last week. And then the next 2 Tuesdays, they're actually going to get a time. And so we're going to have a way to do that. There's like a course we run over there. And then also on the next 2 Fridays, they're going to be doing some other physical fitness testing. There's a flexibility test. They lay on their stomach and pull up their chin. That's called trunk lift. They do push-ups and also sit-ups or curl-ups. So we'll do that over the next couple of weeks. So Tuesdays, they're going to run the mile, and you can kind of dress appropriately for that. And then Friday is active, but not a big requirement of athletic wear on those days. I told you about this last week, and I'll leave this update in our big updates page. But if you want to buy a yearbook, you have to do that ahead of time. So there's a link on the updates page as well as a code, so you can put in your order for the right school. The third update is there's Guys Night. I sent out an informational or sent out an email about that to RSVP. So for all the families with boys, if you want to sign up for that night, I will be there that night. I'm going to go. It's very informative and a great time for kids, for boys and their dads to get together, or boys and a trusted adult to get together and just have a good night. So it's really fun and highly informational. I highly recommend. Like I said, I will be there that night. Final announcement, open house is March 30th, Thursday, March 30th, right before spring break. I don't know the time yet. For those of you with honors concert students who are in the honors concert, you know that's the night of the honors concert. So unfortunately, I can't make it, although I'd love to that night, because we're going to be having open house. And since there are many students in the honors concert, that really kind of changes what we're able to do at open house. So I'm going to kind of do some research and figure some things out. This applies to the 6th grade APIS class as well, but it looks like we might try to kind of do it another time, maybe earlier that afternoon. So I'm trying to find out a few things. So open house timing is going to be announced and to be kind of figured out. And then once I know that for sure, I'll send out that information. But because there's so many students in the honors concert, that really kind of messes up how we're able to do open house that night. So we'll see how it goes, but I'll keep everyone updated once I know. The students are going to spend this week in Reader's Workshop, continuing to read books about the American Revolution and the surrounding time period. They've moved on from their group work to now working as individuals. For this last week, we're going to kind of wrap that up. Students are working on individual projects and turning that in to demonstrate their knowledge. And then we're going to move on to kind of an open house project after that the kids are going to use to compare a couple books, but we're going to continue reading about these American Revolution books during the next week. In Writer's Workshop, the kids are bringing history to life and trying to write an information text, including lots of different kinds of writing. And they are well on their way to finishing that one. They're pretty much finished up with all their rough drafts, and they're going to move on to the publishing phase next week. So the students are going to do some peer editing first, and also talk about revision and go through that, like a little bit of the revision process. And then we'll get to publishing. We're going to add some really cool text features that normally don't get added to big essays. But this is an information book, so there's a lot of things we can do to make it really interesting. We'll talk about that. The kids will actually publish, and then they'll get to turn it into this application that we're kind of testing out in the district. I know the middle schools are using it, high schools are using it. It's called Paper, and what it does is it submits your writing or any other work to a like a tutor essentially, and they can write back little pieces of feedback. We're going to use it to look at just a couple specific things that the students are going to add, and then finally they'll end up publishing their information book. In math, we have a few things going on right now. The kids have invested in their stocks, and so that you can see how their stocks are doing. It's been a little bit of a wild ride so far in the positive direction, since we invested for some of the stocks, and also in the negative direction for some of the stocks, as you might expect. But you can kind of check in on that if you'd like to, and the kids can show you where their stocks are and how they're doing. The second thing we're doing is we're working on volume. So we're going to have a little bit of a review day on Monday. We're going to have a quiz on Tuesday that's looking at volume of figures with fractional side lengths, both rectangular prisms and irregular prisms. And then also we're going to look at a couple like some real world problems, and the kids are going to work together to solve those. And the final thing is that got started this week, but will continue next week, is our humanoid robot project. So the kids are going to use everyday materials and make a humanoid robot, meaning a robot that kind of looks kind of human, as opposed to just totally different, not having human characteristics. So that's going to come in all different forms. They're working in a group of about 4 people, and they have come up with a design for their robot. And then next week on Thursday, they're going to try to bring as many materials as they can to actually assemble the robot. Now, the robot is being made of different kinds of 3-dimensional figures that we can calculate the volume for. So eventually the students are going to make the whole robot and calculate the volume for the whole robot, as well as do several other things. You'll be able to see the robots at open house once they're all painted, and we have several other exciting things to do at them, but I'll leave that for open house. But they're going to use kind of materials from home. So Amazon boxes, Kleenex boxes, paper towel rolls, toilet paper rolls, and anything else that they can use. They're going to use like those different figures to actually make up that robot. So they might be collecting stuff at home over the next few days. And because it's distributed between 4 or 5 people, they shouldn't have too much, but that'll be a cool thing that they can start putting together and keeping, and then they're going to bring to school and start putting those together next Thursday. They're going to assemble those, and then those boxes will stay at school, and then we'll get into all the rest of it the following week. So that'll be really fun and exciting. In social studies next week, we're really taking some time to focus on the Declaration of Independence. We looked at all the causes leading up to the revolution, and now there's this moment where the colonies declare independence and it's going to be a war. So we're taking some time and really analyzing the Declaration of Independence. It's a really hard document to get through. For 5th graders, it's written in Old English, and there's a lot of information that Thomas Jefferson is bringing into that we don't have. So we're taking some time to kind of go through it and analyze it and understand what he's trying to say in the context of the time. And then the students are going to pivot and use that same format. So we're analyzing both the words and the structure of the Declaration of Independence. The kids are going to use that structure to write their own Declaration of Independence. And so they're kind of declaring independence in the kind of growing up sense. Maybe they're going to declare independence from some of the rules that their parents have had or their teachers have had for a long time, because they can do it on their own. I'm not inspiring mutiny or revolution, but we're kind of talking about how the students are able to do more on their own now that they're in 5th grade or almost in 6th grade. And so it's that kind of declaring independence. So the kids will write their own Declaration of Independence with the same structure as the actual Declaration of Independence. They will write a rough draft, revise it, publish it, and then on Friday next week, we'll actually go outside and we'll read our Declaration of Independence and declare our independence as we're growing up and doing that. And then that document will get saved for later as well. In science, we're going to continue studying the Mojave Desert, and specifically the kids are going to write about some of the reading that they've done that shares why the Mojave Desert is so dry. And so they're going to use some of the sources that we've already looked at to actually write about why the Mojave Desert is so dry. And of course, they'll see Mr. Marco for Science Lab. And then in vocabulary, we were just finishing up classical roots, and then we'll move on to Wordly Wise. So the kids are doing lesson 3 right now. We just started of Wordly Wise. We'll continue that next week, and then also continue with lesson 4 next week, and then the following week they'll take their Wordly Wise test. That's what's going on this week. We're having a great time. Really fun things coming up. I'll see you at conferences if I haven't seen you already. Have a great week. Bye-bye.